guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing? So today I'm sharing with you yet another pattern. It's based on my Cinderella collection. If you haven't seen any of my prior videos, I would probably recommend you to do so and see what I'm talking about. But basically I am doing a sustainable fashion collection inspired in Cinderella, but not the normal fairy tale blue aesthetic, but more of her story before she became who she was meant to be. So I have quite a few videos to talk about on that, but today I'm going to share with you the pattern of the outfit number 3 of this collection. Is very simple, but I have to tell you that if you haven't watched the video or the vlog post that I did for the basic dress pattern, you'll need to be able to build this pattern. So I would really recommend you if you do watch that video first, because all the measurements that we will need based on your own figure will be on that pattern, and we'll use that pattern, change it to this new pattern. My goal was to build the basic patterns of both the bodice, pants, skirt and a dress, and then use those base patterns and change it with the alterations in darts and shapes and cuts, and show you what you can do with that basic pattern, and then transform it into something totally new and totally different. So this is basically what we're doing today. We're taking that dress form and that dress pattern and then transform it into this new pattern. I absolutely love this dress. I have made the toile just now. I just finished it, and I think it's gonna look very cool. I'll show you a picture at the end as well so you can see. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's just jump into it. So first thing that we have to do is once again copy the base pattern. As I mentioned earlier, I did a video on a dress pattern, so you'll have to watch this video before you jump into making this pattern. So obviously I have this by scale, which means that if I multiplied each measurement by 4, I have my own measurements. But the idea, as I mentioned, is just literally copying the pattern as it is, and then in the new pattern that we're drawing, that's where we're gonna start making the changes. And actually, one thing that I have to mention is that the dress pattern, the base one, is actually based off a bodice pattern that I did prior to that one. So as you can see, all of the patterns are kind of connected, so they're quite easy to do, and they might take a little long time, but as soon as you have them done, then you can do many other patterns based on those. So I'm gonna link it down below, and I have the bodice pattern, a skirt pattern, a pants pattern, and also the dress. And the dress, as I mentioned, comes from the bodice pattern. So if you really want to do this dress but you don't have any of those base patterns, my recommendation is do it first before you jump in to make this pattern. On the side here I have the pattern with all the measurements, so you can try to copy them, but they're not gonna be perfect, because obviously each curve and so on fits in a certain way, and also your measurements can be different and probably are different from mine. We all have different bodies, so I would really recommend you to watch that first before you jump into this. And I also have, I'm gonna link it down below, my website where we have all of the vlogs with all measurements and all pictures. This is very easy to follow, a step by step in each pattern. So as soon as you're done with your pattern, copying it, we're gonna jump into the neckline, because and I do this before I jump into cutting off the pattern, because the neckline, the front, will also impact the back. I have here on the side the measurements, but you can do this as you want, like the neckline, how deep or how high you wanted it. I wanted it about 6 centimeters above the bust line, which crosses the apex at the front. and then I kind of just create the curve going a little bit down. You can create the pattern and then see if it fits properly and if you like it, and then if you need to change it, you can either add a little bit more or take a little bit more into the neckline. That's totally up to you. You see here that I just elongated the dart line, the middle point, because we're gonna cut now these two patterns, the front and the back, in 4. So 2 for the front and 2 for the back. At this point we can cut it as it is, and then we're gonna change it for a better fit and for a little bit of flare at the end. But as you can see, I'm cutting it with the darts out, so I'm not putting the darts in because we're not gonna need them. And there you have it, 4 patterns, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. Next, we're gonna copy the new patterns that we have. I know this is a lot of paper. That's why I always advise you to do on tracing paper before you jump into fabric, even if you're doing a toile, because you can guarantee that you're not wasting too much fabric. Obviously you need to copy all of them. The main difference here is that I'm gonna be adding a little bit of flare at the end. So I decided to measure 2 centimeters for each side on the hem line and connect it to a 10 centimeter high. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a triangle shape. This will give a little bit of flare at the end, not much, because as I mentioned, it's only 2 centimeters on each side, but this dress is kind of fitted to the figure across the whole dress, and at the end it has a little bit of flare. Next, obviously, we're going to cut the patterns, both the back and the front. They all have the same cut, so tight across the fit, across the whole body, and then a little bit flare at the end on the hemline. And as you can see, the main part of the dress, it is pretty much done. Next, we're going to jump into the frills that cause the off-the-shoulder effect on the dress. They go around your shoulder. They start and finish at the front on the neckline. So to get this, make sure you measure yourself around the shoulder. In my case, that was 110 centimeters. To do the frills, we're going to use a circle method, which means that we're going to fold our tracing paper twice, so half and then half again. And then from the corner, we are going to measure the radius of our circumference, which was, as I mentioned, was 110 centimeters. So on the side here, you have the calculation to get to that measurement. In my case, it came to 17 centimeters, 17 and a half. I actually wanted to have a little extra volume, so I doubled that number. So I went for like a 35 centimeters. You measure that measurement across, creating this kind of quarter of a circle, as I am showing you on the video. And then from that new line, you're going to measure the desired length for this frill. So I went for 8 centimeters. So 17 centimeters, or in this case, 35 centimeters from the top, and then 8 centimeters length. As soon as you finish with your measurement and the drawing of the pattern, you can go ahead and cut it. And then you'll see that when you open the pattern, you'll have like a full circle, obviously with the big hole in the middle in this case. For a skirt, the hole will be much smaller. And then you'll cut front and back and you're done. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned, this pattern is very, very simple, as long as you have that basic pattern of the dress done prior to this. But I think it's kind of quirky, kind of cute, kind of fun, and I think the toile came out very, very well, and I'm very, very excited to actually make this into a garment, which of course I will show you when that happens. And let me know in the comments below what you think, if there's anything that I can help you with, and don't forget to press the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet, because I try to post every week. It's a bit complicated sometimes because the work that I do takes quite a long time, but I try to keep you updated every week. Also, you have all my social networks just written down below in the description box. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it once again, and I'll see you next time.